Hi guys, thank you for joining me today for my live book reading of Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer. And we are now on, chapter 14, Paradise Found. Had to remind myself. Yeah, so thank you so much for following me all this way through the book. And just in case you've joined me for the first time, my name is Beth Shepherd, and I'm the author of Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer, a slimy squidgy book about a slimy squidgy snail who has a big adventure. And my second book, Ernie Gonzalez, Escape from Paradise. So it's a little bit more sinister, and you meet the thug slugs in this book. So a bit more danger. Great fun. So I love reading my book to you guys. Best bit about writing a book is being able to share it. Otherwise, what's the point of writing it? So although it is great fun writing a book, so I should also add, writing it is fun too, but sharing it is a massive part of it. So I'm so glad that you guys have been watching with me and listening to me share my book. So I love reading my book to you guys, and going into schools and reading my book is the best thing about being an author. Right, so anyway, just to say hi to Amaya. I know you're still watching, so well done. And Jinhan, you guys are awesome for following me all the way through. Josh and Zara, I think you're still watching. I'm not sure. I think you're catching up later today. And who else do I know watching? Amy and Ben are going to catch up later. Another very special chap called Amir, who might be watching later, so let's hope and let's see. But yeah, and anyone else who is joining me who haven't mentioned, hi guys, let me know you're watching so I can give you a mention. So where are we in the story? Let's just have a little recap. So last chapter saw Ernie and Bruce stuck on the top of a moving rock. Okay, remember the two hitchhikers, and the rapids were gushing around them. The water, the fast-moving water was gushing around them, nearly flipping them out the boat. We'd already had Bruce flipped right out the boat, and Ernie rescued him with a blob of chewing gum and a large polo mint with a hole in it. Well done to Bruce. Well done to Ernie. And so now they were like, yeah, we're on our way. And suddenly they were stuck on a moving rock. I don't know any rocks that move. Do you? Anyway, it turned out that the moving rock was a turtle, a very cute Spanish turtle called Jose. Hi, guys, if anyone's from Spain who's watching, especially if your name's Jose. So Jose is a brilliant little turtle, great friend for the snails to have. And remember last week I set you an activity saying, can you guess what kind of character Jose is? Can you predict what character I am going to make him? And I set you a task for that, and I uploaded a resource for you. If you want to download it, it's on my website at bethshepherd.com. There are free resources on there for you to use with these videos. So I'm trying to do them as quick as possible so you can use them. So yeah, bear with me, but keep checking on there for more. So he met Jose, and Jose knows about Olive Garden, and Bruce cannot believe it. So the last bit was Bruce had fainted with shock that this place actually exists. Remember, Ernie wanted him to come and help him on his dream, but Bruce didn't really believe that it existed, and he just thought he'd help him along his way to kind of get rid of him. But he got swept up in the adventure, and Bruce went along with it because he loves adventure. But deep down, he didn't really believe it existed. But now he's found out that it has, and he can't handle it, and he's passed out. So let's find out what happens when they arrive at Olive Garden. So as I mentioned, this chapter is called Paradise Found. Let's have a quick look at the picture. I didn't show you the last picture from the last chapter. There's Bruce looking a bit freaked out. There you go. So Paradise Found. So look, sweet smelling lemons, and Bruce and Ernie in a little boat chilling out. But first, I just remember, before I read it to you, I want you to do something for me. As I read it to you, I want you to listen for varied rhythm. So my tip for you today is varied rhythm. I love varied rhythm in a story. Okay, you may not understand what it is, but I bet you love it too. Okay, when you know what it is, you'll love it. So it's what makes a story just have more excitement, more variety. Okay, so I'm not explaining it the best way. The best way is for me to show you. So If you are just writing your story with lots of long detailed sentences and lots of dialogue, it could become a bit boring to read. And what makes a story, I think, personally, for me, that I like reading and I like writing, is where it has excitement. So you can create that rhythm, the varied rhythm, a bit like a song. A song changes rhythm, changes beat, fast, slow, loud, quiet. Okay, so your story, you're going to do that by using different things like mixing long, detailed sentences with short, impact sentences. So Ernie was frightened. Maybe then after that, it's a bit more detail to explain what happened to him. And then suddenly his heart pounded with fear. Okay, so you are getting a nice variety of a slightly more detailed sentence that's gentler to read with suddenly a pow sentence. You can also get that using action. Okay, so with detail, same thing, long descriptive sentence explaining the important details that you do need to explain within a story, like he had to climb up onto the top of the wall and he pulled his legs over. Then suddenly, there in front of him was a giant spider. Okay, so you get a nice balance of detail with boom, impact. Love that stuff. You can also mix it with dialogue. Okay, suddenly what the character says, oh my goodness, or I can't think of something else. Okay, shock horror. So then you can also have, what have I written down here? Let me just check. Oh, character emotions. So Ernie sat down and breathed a sigh of relief. He was so glad to have got rid of the wild dogs. When suddenly, behind him, he heard a loud barking. He jumped out of his skin. Can you see how it's, sigh of relief, then suddenly something. So these are all great ways. And I'm sure that you can think of other ways to create a rhythm, a varied rhythm in your story. So I want you to listen out for that varied rhythm in this chapter that I read. Okay, let's go. Bruce was woken by the strong, sweet smell of lemons. Wow, I love lemons. So refreshing and zingy. He squinted as he opened his eyes. The sun was shining brightly and there was not a cloud in the sky. Wish I lived in Spain, although it's like that today, thankfully. He leapt up and looked around. The sight was magnificent. Before him lay endless olive trees and a pool of tranquil, clear blue water. Listen carefully to the descriptions. I must be dreaming, he mumbled. But just as he was about to lay down and go back to sleep again, he heard a splashing coming from the pool. He looked up, and to his surprise, there was Ernie heading towards him on a leaf boat. Ooh, jump on board, my friend. It looks like I was right about this Olive Garden place. Bruce was speechless as he slid on board alongside his friend. And it's even better than I imagined. Are you ready to check out Lemon Harbour? They have a special of cabbage a la sprouts. Nice if you're a snail. On the menu tonight. Ernie, this place is awesome. Is it for real? This is the best billabong I've ever set eyes on, Bruce said as he looked around at the stunning lake. He sat staring in amazement as Ernie sailed the boat across the crystal clear water. Bruce and Ernie spent day after day in paradise, soaking up the sun, enjoying the pool and feasting on endless olives. There's those olives he loves again. Can't escape them. Time flew by as the friends explored and enjoyed their new home. But Bruce soon forgot all about his compost heap of rotting vegetable scraps and settled into his new home like a king in a palace. Wow, lucky Bruce. They became good friends with Jose, who was very wise and visited them often. So when you did your guess about Jose's character, I wonder if you added in wise. So that is definitely our Jose. Life was good for the two brave adventurers. They seemed to have everything they needed and more. Sounds perfect. However, Ernie gradually began to notice a restless feeling growing in his heart. He tried to ignore it and eating more olives, but it just wouldn't go away. His friend, Bruce, seemed to be content and was good enough company. But Ernie was growing more and more unsettled. Let's have a little look at Ernie's poor sad face. Look at those tentacles hanging down, those boggly eyes. It was as if he felt there was something else that he should be doing. He hated to admit it, but it felt like this olive garden was just not good enough for him, or not enough for him. After a month of being in his new home, the feeling had grown so strong that Ernie couldn't concentrate on anything else. So he decided to go and visit Jose. Remember, the wise turtle. Good person to go and have a little chat with. He slid out of the garden and followed the riverbank down to Jose's house. They sat down to talk over a cup of nettle tea, because that's what snails would drink, I'm sure, and Ernie told him how he was feeling. Jose listened with compassion and understanding. When Ernie had finished, Jose said, "It seems quite clear to me that you have this feeling because you were meant for something bigger than the olive garden." Wow, what an interesting point. Ernie looked at him in surprise. "What do you mean?" Jose continued, "We weren't designed to live only for ourselves. This garden of yours is everything you have dreamed of, but it's not what you were made for. Ask yourself, is there something that you ran away from or turned your back on so that you could reach this dream garden?" Wow, what a very deep point. I wonder if you understand what Jose means by that. So I think what he's saying is it's great to relax in your olive garden, but it's so good to help others. And we were kind of made to help others. So it's part of what makes us happy. And so he's saying that Ernie might have a niggling feeling that there's something he needs to do to help other people. And then his dream will be, and he can share the olive garden with other people, and it will be the best ending ever. Let's see what happens. Ernie sat in silence. Jose's question made him feel slightly uncomfortable. He thanked his friend for his help and set off on the long slide back to the olive garden, mulling it all over as he went. That night, he dreamt about the empty snail shells behind the fridge. He woke up in a panic and sat bolt upright. A shiver ran through his small body. It was awful to think about the fate of those snails. He wondered how many others were being kept as pets and were never seen again. "That's it," he yelled. "How can I be happy in paradise, knowing there are hundreds of other snails out there being taken captive?" Wow, so Ernie has figured out what is bothering him. He wants to help those other snails. It's a great thing to do, Ernie. Bruce, who had been sleeping on a leaf in the middle of the pool, was woken up with a start when Ernie shouted. He jumped with shock and fell splash right into the water. "Something has to be done, Bruce. We have to leave this very morning," Ernie said with great determination. "What?" replied a soggy Bruce as he slid out of the water. "I know I said I like this billabong, but I didn't mean that I want to swim in it." I think Bruce is a bit wound up. "Pack your bags, my friend. We have work to do." "We're leaving," stated Ernie. Bruce frowned as he shook the drips off his tentacles. He didn't like the sound of this. Ernie explained everything as he packed his bags. Bruce listened in disbelief. "You're on your own with this one, mate. There is no way I'm leaving this place, not for anything or anyone." Ernie felt a little bit disappointed, but he knew he had to go with or without Bruce, though it would be a whole lot better with him. "But Bruce, you are so brave, you know the compost heap better than anyone else. And who will protect me from the wild dogs?" But Bruce would not be persuaded. So Ernie hoisted his rucksack onto his back and headed off to get some breakfast as the first light of day broke through the trees. Wow. So, interesting chapter. Ernie feels strongly in his heart that he can't just enjoy his garden knowing that there's people who need help. That's so noble of Ernie. And it's okay for Bruce to not feel like that too, because we're all different. But I love that Ernie has that in his heart. And I wonder if Bruce will be convicted and convinced to come with him and help him on this mission. And maybe Bruce will realize that it's quite important too. So, so well done for listening. I wonder if you have a think about that chapter and think about what is it maybe that you've done to help someone. I'm sure that we have all done something, even if it's really small. Even small is awesome. So have a little think. What have you done to help one of your friends, help your brother or sister, help your mom and dad, and that you feel good about? So well done for thinking about that. So my activity, back to the story rhythm tip. I have set an activity for you guys to write a paragraph, really focusing on getting that varied story rhythm in. So I have 2 ideas of what the paragraph could be about. So one, it could be about a football match. Loads of up and downs in that. You can create loads of variety in that. Okay, he ran the ball with the ball. I don't know much about football, so hopefully you guys do if you choose to do this one. So you probably do better demonstration than me. But he stopped as he narrowly escaped and dodged the ball, and then he stopped and caught his breath, and then quickly he had to kick the ball, and the crowd cheered, and then for a moment everything went silent as everyone held their breath. Lots of things like that you can get in. The other idea, you don't have to use these ideas. The other one is, what about kids playing hide and seek in the woods? Okay, he waited and counted when suddenly he jumped out on his friend or her friend. Okay, so if you can think of another idea, but use a paragraph that has some action in it, or an event, that has some action in it that you could use to create your varied sentences. So get those detailed in, followed with excitement. So that's it. I'm done for now. So I hope you guys have a great day. Keep writing, keep reading, and stay safe. And see you next week.